Good afternoon. I am Rufus Bill, and I would like to welcome you to another edition of Talking To. Talking To is a weekly broadcast right here on Facebook Live that you can always hear with three dynamic hosts, and we deal with human interest stories every week. It could be funny, serious, um, it's informative, educational, and very insightful. And so we wanted to just let you know that we're glad to be here today on this day, April 30th, 2023, 7 o'clock p.m. That's our time slot. Every Sunday, you can join Joanne Tolson Fuller, Justin Hearn, and yours truly, Rufus Beal. And it's just a time that we can get ready, settling in from the weekend and getting ready for the upcoming week, and just spending some time together where you can chit chat and talk and comment and just join into the conversation. We'd like for you to like and share because we want to get the word out about talking to. This is our fifth season. Can you believe it? Our fifth season. So if this is your first time viewing this broadcast, we're on for 12 weeks and then we're off 12 weeks. And so this is the very first show coming back after our 12-week break. And it seemed like it was so much longer this week or this break than normal. And but we're glad to be back, and we're glad to be able to provide for you just some great topics and great informative things that'll make you think, make you wonder, make you use the brain that you have in your mind to kind of process things, especially in a time and in a place where everything has changed, especially since the 2 year pandemic with the COVID-19. Everything has changed. And so this gives you an opportunity to kind of, take a breath on a Sunday evening. Maybe grab your favorite beverage. It might be hot cocoa, or it might be coffee, maybe water. You see our cups, like our cups, the water, or it might be an adult beverage. Whatever it is, we're just glad that you're going to join us, that you will join us, and that you're here with us on Sundays at 7 o'clock p.m. Now, usually at this time, we want to introduce our dynamic, our other dynamic host, and that is Joanne Tolson Fuller and Justin Hearn. However, today they will not be with us. Yes, unfortunately, they will not be with us today. Joanne Tolson, if for those of you who may not know, she is in California, and she had to go there for the services for her aunt, who made her transition maybe a week ago, and the services were yesterday. So she's been there for all week. I'm just putting all her business out. She's been there all week and taking care of business. The services were yesterday. I have been in communication with her, and she says she's ready to come home. So she'll be back with us next week, 7 o'clock p.m. And so I want you to keep her family, Joanne and her family, in prayer as they navigate through this trying time. Now, with Justin Hearn, Justin Hearn he has many hats. And today he's wearing the hat of the Men in Blue. So he is out serving and protecting the residents in the city of Detroit. And it's a very hectic job. It's a dangerous job of life and death. And we just want to continue to pray for him as he does what he is commissioned to do in terms of keeping the city safe. I think it's admirable that he would even want to take on a career of law enforcement. in a age and in an era where it seems to be very lawless, not only in this city but all across the country. And so, but God has definitely has a plan for not only Justin but for all of our law enforcers. I know of another Brian Johnson, and who is works for the DPD, and who's out there in the streets every day, doing what they have promised to do by helping the citizens of our great city. So, what have you been doing since the last we talked? Now, so many things have happened, and I don't know if you have followed Facebook and have followed Justin's page, but Justin went to Cairo, I believe. Cairo. And he was there. He and his wife, and some other friends, they and family members. They went to Cairo, had a great experience. Some of the clips that he has posted are hilarious because Justin is also a comedian, and you can see him riding the camel. At one point, he was doing his exercises, trying to stay fit, and great trip. I told him, I said, when you go to Cairo, you're going to come across a lot of beggars. That is their whole way of life, is to beg. You can go from one corner to the next corner and be accosted 50 times. And if there is a family working together, you might see the daughter at one spot, the mother at another, the father and another child further on in the block. And I'm telling you, if you take the time to answer or to even act as if you're going to give them $1 or two, you are in for trouble because they're going to just beg, 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 beg. And Justin said he highly agreed with me. Also, another one of my dear friends visit South Africa. And I don't know if you can really see because the lights are not where they should be in the room where I am. But this is a hat, South Africa, that she brought back for me. Very nice hat. And I had no idea. I mean, it's quality, very good embroidery with the name, and I'm very appreciative. And thank you very much. She was gone so long, I thought I was going to have to send out a search party, bring her back to the city, or at least to the country of the United States. A lot of people know Justin, and is usually our sports enthusiast, and he keeps us up to date on what's going on. And so, since I am not as well versed as he, I can only say and can only welcome the new players that will be here for the Detroit Lions, defensive backs, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Cam Sutton, and Emmanuel Mosley, running back David Montgomery, and guard Graham Glasgow. And we just say welcome to the city of Detroit. You will never ever experience another city like this, especially in terms of being supportive to their sports team. So, guys, we are looking for you to do exceptionally well and get us to the Super Bowl. Please, please, and please. Listen, tell all your friends that we are on, like and share, talking to every Sunday from 7 p.m. 7 a.m. would be a little early for me. 7 p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then you can catch the rebroadcast on YouTube by just going into the search and putting in Talking To, and you will see all of our shows pop up. And you can also search in Facebook Live or Facebook under Rufus Bill or Joanne Tolson or Justin Hearn, and pull up the show, at least the most recent show, which is today. How was your Sunday? Did you go to church? Did you stay home? Did you cook? Did you spend time with family? Did you pull the cover over your heads? Were you just coming in from last night? Some of you probably are. But whatever it is that you did today, I hope that you were able to enjoy yourself and be able to reflect on what you have done, accomplished this past week, and then what goals you're going to set for this week. This is a great time, great day to do that. Now, it was raining earlier today, and weather reports are saying that it may possibly rain all week. Now, last night, I don't know if you heard it, when I heard that thunder, I immediately began to plug in my devices, my phone and my tablet, and because I didn't know what was going to happen, because DTE and Consumers Energy, they're over there, I think, playing with us. Just a flash of lightning will put the lights out for days. But fortunately, my lights were not interrupted. And hopefully, there were not many others who may have suffered, or no one suffered, because I didn't see any reports or of that nature where there was a massive outage in the Detroit metropolitan area. Now, I'm looking at this light here, and I don't like it. And let's see what we can do to get that view better. I don't know. I hear somebody saying, why didn't you do this before? I did, but the lights shift. And so now I'm trying to make this picture just a little better just for you. I want to share with you something that I was reading today from the book Creative Mind and Success by Ernest Holmes. This is a great book to add to your library. I was introduced to this book by Martha Jean the Queen Steinberg. I produced her show for many years, and so one of the duties for her show, I had to get all her materials and bring it into the studio. And she had a stack of books that she would reference while she would, minister and talk to people on the show. This is one of the books. And it was something that just caught my eye today from Creative Mind and Success. And it was talking about what we will attract. And it says, put every negative thought out of your mind once and for all. I'm going to repeat that. Put every negative thought out of your mind once and for all. Declare your freedom. Declare your freedom. Know that no matter what others may say, think, or do, you are a success now. Let me repeat that. Know that no matter what others may say, think, or do, you are a success now. And nothing can hinder you from accomplishing your good. Nothing can hinder you from accomplishing your good. Put every negative thought out of your mind once and for all. And that could be a negative thought that you have created in your mind, or it could be a negative thought that someone else has created in your mind. One factor or one scenario that occurred during our break, I had a chance to do just that, to rid myself of some negativity. And it was nothing that I well, it was something that I had done or something I did, and to draw it to me. And there was a situation that occurred that made me really think about my relationship with this particular person. And we can be in relationships, friendships, and platonic relationships, um, spiritual relationships, physical relationships, and sometimes it has run its course. And no matter what you may feel about the person, you may love them as a friend, as a family member, but it's just not coinciding with your purpose, who you are, where where you're going, and the person that you want to be. Now, this friend of mine, we had been friends for a number of years, and I allowed the person to really uh, discuss a lot of negative things with me. Now, fortunately, none of it penetrated me consciously or subconsciously. However, the fact remains is that it happened, and he had been given carte blanche to be able to speak freely about what was going on. But when the scenario presented itself, and I looked at the situation of what was occurring, and I just decided, I said, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to move on and just dismiss the friendship, or dismiss the relationship, I should say. I don't know, I'm not, and it didn't cause for me to announce or to declare that I'm not going to be bothered anymore, or I'm not going to allow you to talk randomly about things, first of all, that I care nothing of, and secondly, of things that you're still talking about from 3 years ago, 5 years ago, and in some cases, 10 years ago. So I didn't even announce any of that, let's not even communicate. But I'm very thankful that it happened, or that I came to this conclusion, because we all have to work on being better and being the people that we are designed to be, and to do the things that we should do. Know that no matter what others may say, think, or do, you are a success now, and nothing can hinder you from accomplishing your goal. That's powerful. That's powerful. I know sometimes we get into a habit of listening to others, and being influenced by people who have not really accomplished anything. Isn't that something? We will take the words of someone else and say, "You're right." They will say, so and so tried to do that, and they fell flat on your feet, on their face. You trying to do that? And you say to yourself, "Well, I thought I was going to try and do it." But now is not the time to be influenced by anyone or anything. We watch a lot of social media, and social media itself is an influencer. And depending on where you are mentally, in some cases spiritually, even some cases physically, you will be bombarded with views and opinions that you may adopt as your own philosophy. I recently saw something on a social media platform, And it was a lady, and she was talking about her weight and how that she no longer had the shape that she desired, and what it is that she had tried many times to capture that body she once had. And then she finally just decided, and she's saying this on her on her post. She said, "Forget it. I don't care no more. I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. I will never be." All that negativity. Now, this was her, but for a person who may be experiencing a challenge in releasing the weight, come across that particular post and say, "Yeah, it's over for me. I'm not going to even try to get smaller or try to get healthier. Why?" No, no, no. I'm referring back to put every negative thought out of your mind once and for all. Put every negative thought out of your mind once and for all. I was at a service this morning where I play, and on the fifth Sunday, this particular church, they do testimony, and they allow the membership and friends and visitors to give a 3-minute testimony about the goodness of God. And someone got one of the deacons. He got up and he talked about overcoming fear. And he talked about how anxious he would be when he would have to speak in front of the congregation, or whenever he would have to read the scripture or even pray, how it just felt like he was going to have an anxiety attack. And he went and prayed, and to get rid of that negativity, that fear. And fortunately, he was delivered from that fear. And so here again, I may be doing this for the rest of the remaining part of the broadcast. Put every negative thought out of your mind once and for all. Put every negative thought out of your mind once and for all. I attended a seminar once, and an author of the book was titled Mary's Way, and the author of this book was a special guest at the seminar, and this was some years ago. And the woman was speaking to the crowd, and she said, "Whenever you get a negative thought in your head, you should address it, then dismiss it." And it sounded, when she said it, it sounded good. However, it didn't sound like it would work. And I wanted to do a demonstration. In the Course of Miracles, they talk about doing demonstrations. I wanted to do a demonstration to see if it did work. And there were a couple of situations and things that entered my mind, some thoughts. And I said, "Listen, not today. I'm excusing you from my consciousness." And I began to adopt this particular process. And since then, until now, I've used it. Fortunately, I have not had to use it as much as I have matured mentally, which is a great, great blessing. And so again, put every negative thought out of your mind once and for all. Put every negative thought out of your mind once and for all. If you don't remember anything else that I've talked about today, remember this. Put every negative thought out of your mind. You are watching or listening to Talking To. I am your host, Rufus Beal, and Joanne Tosa will join us next week. And Justin Hearn will join us as soon as he can. And we're just sending them positive, knowing thoughts of love to wherever they are at this present time. There is a epidemic that's going on in the city of Detroit, and I do want to speak on it. And it's hard to believe that this is existing right here in the Detroit metropolitan area. And it has to do with children and their education. In the city of Detroit, we have a 50% illiteracy rate in our education process for our children. Now, I want you to really pay attention. 50% of school age children in the city of Detroit are illiterate. You might know someone or you might not know someone. And what is very interesting about these numbers is that you can be fooled to thinking your child or your grandchild or someone's child is literate because of their conversation. Speaking words and formulating sentences that make sense, but still illiterate. A couple of weeks ago, I had the pleasure, I think this occurred during our break. And I went to the Ypsilanti Seventh-day Adventist Church, of course, in Ypsilanti, Michigan. And I was a guest of one of my educators from high school, Mrs. Sharon Beard Smith. She was a speaker. It was home and school day. And she was talking about Seventh-day Adventist Christian education. Now, I am a product of going to private school, going to a Seventh-day Adventist, both boarding school as well as off-campus learning from home to school and back home. And, as a child, you're not really thinking about that you're in private school. You may say you're in private school, but you're not thinking about the sacrifices and what's being provided for the students that are in private school. And so it was at this church service where Mrs. Smith's subject was sound the alarm. And she was talking about the importance of having a Christian education and the reality to how, with technology and how times have changed, that some of the schools are suffering, and how we need to band together and to support the Adventist schools. And I was thinking, what really made the school successful was the interaction that the parents or the guardians had with the school and with the student. Because it has to be a partnership. And this is the reason why we were able to accomplish academic goals during our high school and middle school and elementary school days. because there was that home life that insisted that persisted on a studying and learning and getting a bug. Of course, we didn't have all of the devices of modern technology like a tablet and cell phone and laptops. I don't even know at some point we didn't even have computers. But recently, I have been in the school system and I have run across, out of a room of 22 children, and this is second grade, out of 22 children, only 6 can read. This is second grade. This is 7 and 8 years of age. Only 6 students can read at their grade level. Do you hear me? Now, the remaining students cannot read, but they can hold a conversation. They can tell you everything that's going on in terms of on the computer, the roadblocks, the various games that they play, but cannot read literally. And when I say read, I'm talking about sight words like it, this, the, cat, hat, back, in, out. Now, those sight words that I just gave you are first grade level. Not knowing compound words, baseball, flower bed. What's another one? Butterfly. These two are words that I learned in first grade. So this week I had a situation where where there was a assembly, and one of the guests at the assembly was the fire department. And the fire department came out and talked to the students and passed out plastic fireman hats, a bag with information about fire and home safety, and a water jug. Now, during the assembly, I had one of the students who decided to become rude and disrespectful to the person that was talking, and I noticed it, pointed at the student, separated him from the group, had him to sit down for a minute to get his thoughts together. And then at the most appropriate time, I allowed him to go back into the assembly. Well, after the assembly was over, we were going back to class. I told him to take off his hat. Because of his behavior, it was going to stay with me or stay in the classroom overnight. He would get it the next day, providing that his behavior changed. After school, during dismissal, he got in the car with his mother. His mother asked, "How was school today, son?" He said, "Mr. Bill took my hat and would not let me bring it home." Oh, and that rubbed mother the wrong way. She was hot. She was upset. She was seeing fire. And her plan was to get Mr. B together. So I'm still outside with some of the other students, and I see him returning. And I'm thinking, well, why is he coming back? His mother aggressively approaches me and just it's flying off the handle. Now I'm looking at this mother. No, he's 8. We're going to put her at maybe 28, 27, somewhere in that number, a millennial. And I let her go on and talk, and she was talking about she's tired of her child being picked on and favoritism to the other students. And she named 2 other teachers, and this is gonna stop. And I told my son, now the son is right there. I told my son that I'm gonna fight for you. Mama is gonna stand by you and make sure you're not mistreated in any way. She's saying this in front of him. I kind of look at him out the corner of my eye with that smug look on his face. I didn't say anything to him. I just was observing because my concern was really with the mother because she is continually entering or getting close to being too close to me. So I let her go on and talk. And so she says to me, well, can I take his stuff home? I said, well, certainly. I said, no, can he take the stuff home? That's what she said. I said, certainly, he can take it home tomorrow. And she became irate. You mean to tell me, as his mother, I can't take it home tonight? I said, well, I do have students that are here that are being dismissed, and I just can't leave them to accommodate your request. However, mother, M-O-T-H-E-R, if you would like to wait, we can go back into the classroom and I can give you this 29-cent hat and probably 10-cent bottle, water bottle, and give it to you and get you on your way. And so she also proceeded to say some other things that the type of student he is, and she was saying that he was supposed to be tested for ADHD or something else that they test children for. And I shared with her, I said, well, that he doesn't have that type of behavior problem with me where he's running around and he's not that he's a disturbance to the class. I said, the problem that he has is that he will not follow directions. And he becomes insubordinate. And he does have a bad attitude at some times that must be addressed. She tells me, well, in that case, don't you being me, determine whether or not he can take take items home that are given to him. I'm thinking in my head, this woman is off. But I'm going to stay professional, remain professional. And so at the appropriate time, I said, we went back into the classroom. And as we entered the classroom, I said, I'm so glad you stayed so that I can present to you his work. And I had a folder with everything that he had worked on from the beginning of the new work up until the present time. And the first thing that's in the folder are 4 spelling tests. Now, before I give it to her, she goes on to tell me how she's so involved in her son's education and how they sit and do spelling words, and she's helping him to accomplish the goal of being promoted from 2nd grade to 3rd grade. Now I'm listening to this woman, and I said, oh, okay. Give her the folder. The first thing she sees are 4 tests, 4 spelling tests. And some of the words for 2nd grader, they should know: happiest, lovely, weightless. They could be challenging words. However, with study, You can learn them. That particular first test sees that the zero. Did not get not one word right. And she moved moved that paper, looked at something else, and she said, she sees the test. He out of 15, he did get two right. She looked at the next test, another zero. She looked at that fourth test, another zero. So she just takes the folder, she politely closes it, and she says, let me apologize to you, Mr. Bill, if I came across to you in a very unprofessional way. I said, no problem. I said, because you're supposed to be passionate about your child. You're supposed to be concerned about the well-being of your child. I said, and if you take that passion that you have over this fireman's hat and apply this to his learning, the sky is the limit. And I went on to tell her, I said, third grade teachers have no time to teach students how to read because they're expecting second graders entering third grade to know how to read, to know their alphabets. Now, I'm just using this as an example of what occurred with me. She's not interested in preparing her son to be his best. The majority of the students are African Americans, little black boys and little black girls. Now, a lot of time, parents will blame the school system. They will blame the teacher. They will blame anyone else, but not accept responsibility for themselves. A lot of these mothers have become disenchanted because they're young women. They don't have a significant other, a man that's about anything. Most of the fathers with this particular class are not present with their children. So the woman is on her own. This is nothing new to society, single mothers raising children or single fathers raising their children. But what I see with some of these mothers and some of these fathers with their daughters, but more mothers with their sons, that they begin to treat them as if they are their boyfriend. This is my man. Now, nothing awkwardly, no awkwardly treatment, but supporting them when they're not doing right, saying it's all right, buying them $700 and $800 iPhones. They can't spell phone. Buying expensive footwear. One of the boys in the class, he's wearing $250 gym shoes, Air Jordans, the latest, $250. He cannot read. He cannot spell. He does know his alphabets. Thank God he can recognize the letters. So since the dad is not present, the mother is giving a lot of affection to that son that she would give to that man or to that father if he was around. So now you're buying things. One of the boys had on, one of the girls had on a Gucci belt. And I saw it, I looked. I said, is that a Gucci belt? She didn't know what it was. But her mother, her someone has bought her a Gucci belt, and she can't read. I just don't understand why are children being rewarded for mediocrity. See, there was no way that I'm going to get any want from my parents and I'm messing up in school or my behavior is such. That just didn't happen. And it didn't happen. I had to perform. I had to pass my classes. Even when I got in high school in the ninth grade, that new transition, that first card marking, I was trying to adjust, and I wasn't doing as well as I should have. However, my parents were on my neck. This is not acceptable. And what these parents are doing now, they're going to cause problems when they become adults because the problem is already existing because they can't read or write. And some of them, they can write sloppy. And I know you say, well, focus on the 6 that are doing well. No, focus on these other students who are not, who are not doing well. Not their fault. It's the fault of the parents. It's the fault of that mother or the father. I asked the one student, they did homework, and I said, he turned in his homework, and they're supposed to know certain punctuations in the second grade, like commas where they should be placed, periods. They should be able to write at least a sentence, capital letter with the first word in the sentence, lowercase letters for the rest of the sentence, finger spacing between words, and then a punctuation mark at the end. This was the homework assignment. And I looked at it, completely wrong. And I just asked him, I said, did you do this on your own or did you get help from your mom? He said, no, I did this on my own, Mr. B. I said, okay. He said, my mom, she was on the telephone talking about, what is the reality show? Housewives of Atlanta. Hold the press. Mama has just seen his work folder. Failing. The boy has homework. You're not even asking him, does he have homework? Or you assuming he knows how to do it? Shouldn't assume that if he can't spell. Because if you can't spell, generally you can't read. Letting him work it on his own, not checking it while you're on the phone, worried about what the Atlanta housewives are doing. It's terrible. And I know most of our listeners, our viewers, have reared their children, and you may be out of the education process for your children, and so maybe for your grandchildren. So you're not aware of this epidemic that's going on right under our nose. I don't hear the politicians talking about it. And I'm talking about the politicians from Common Council, Detroit City Council. We're in districts now. That should be one of their main focus. They need to partner off with the district of the school board. Hey, what's going on over there? What's one of the high schools? At Northwestern. What's the percentile of students that can read? What is their behavior? What go over there to McKenzie High School, Wyoming, and Chicago, whoever is in that district, partnering with the person from the school board in that district to find out what's going on. And when they find out what's going on, this is what I think they should do. If there's a majority of students, and once again, only 50, there are 50% of the Detroit school students who are illiterate. Once these students are identified, they need to reach out to these parents immediately. Now, I know we have Parent University. For those who may not know what Parent University is, a government-funded program that's some in schools, some are set in other places, and you sign up. They provide dinner for the parents, and they provide tips on what you should be doing as a parent. Now, I worked with that program before, and people came, and I don't know what the rate of the application to what they learned is, and I'm sure it probably may be high in terms of those parents being able to glean information on how to better rear their children, especially with education. But these parents that are not doing anything, they should be held accountable. They should, and maybe they can't read, because it wouldn't be far-fetched that they can't read. But an in-depth research should occur. We need to knock on this door. Hey, mom. Hey, dad. Your child is failing. What are you doing about it? We're going to put you, parent, on a probation. They should be held responsible. And I know you can say, you said, well, Rufus, now, maybe that mother, maybe that father's working 2 jobs. I don't give a darn how many jobs they're working, because no one has told dad or mom to lie down, not use protection, and to create this child and then turn the child into a menace to society. And the first thing we want to do and say is when one of the children, a teenager, is shot and caught up, it's the police fault. And sometimes it is. And then these recent shootings, the police could have used better tactics. However, a lot of times, this is the child. In some cases, this is the child that didn't do well in school, that didn't have help from the guardian or from the mom or from the dad. And because they couldn't read, and because they could not comprehend what was going on in class, these behavior issues began. There was another incident this week, and I told the student, I said, you know, you can't have recess today because of your behavior. What you're going to do is come over here and read to me. You would not believe how that student cried. Not because they couldn't read, because they didn't want to practice reading. Now, this student is involved in extra school curriculum and activities, sports, excuse me, and other things. I said the parents have the students doing all these little activities and the child cannot read. And when I tell you that child cried and screamed and pouted, and I let the child do all that. I said, "Are you finished? Let's get started." I said, "You're going to have to learn to read. You cannot make it today without being able to read." Now, we'll be just frank and honest. Some will do well that can't read. They'll be able to navigate and find some kind of way and some kind of hustle to be able to take care of themselves. God bless them. But not all will. It's imperative that something is said and something is done. And if this conversation that we're having today, either you and I are having, may get rebroadcast or may fall into the sight of maybe someone from DPS or from the Detroit School Board or from the state of Michigan or some educators or something to change this. It's really sad and disheartening to just see a student not being able to function. And I know certain circumstances at home can be of such the parent may be on drugs, the the parent might even be absent. The child could be living in foster care. There's many reasons why. And the child is just bombarded with so many social issues that could be prohibiting the desire to learn. I get all that. But we as a community should not and must not allow this epidemic to continue and to increase. 50% of Detroit school children are illiterate. Wow. It's a sad day. It's really sad. And for me to just sit there and be able to observe it right in the making and see it. And then to know that the child has not even been inspired from home to want to do their best. But we're going to take you shopping and get you new Air Jordans. One of the students had on what are those jeans called? It has the horseshoe on the back of the pocket. True Religion. True Religion jeans. I think they're like $180 for adults, maybe $200 now. So I'm gonna put a child's pair of jeans maybe at $85, $100. I don't know what the price. No, you're not gonna wear that. No. We start doing things like that at that early age, they're going to expect that all the time. And then most parents are going to try to provide that all the time because of peer pressure. And I know, I get it. I understand it. But if your child is having, if you, not the child, because I don't want to put the attention on the child where, I'm putting it on the parent. If you as the parent are not doing your duty to prepare your child to be independent, to be able to take care of themselves, to be an asset in the community, shame on you. This is my baby. This mama's big boy. This daddy's big girl. Look at her. That's my girl. And can't read R-E-D, red. Don't know the sounds of the alphabets like S, T, D. They're supposed to know that the be able to pronounce the vowel sounds. Long A, short A. Long E, short E, Long I, short I, Don't know it. Parents aren't even interested in making sure they know it. Have you seen that commercial where the lady says, it's a post, and she's walking up to Popeyes and she never been before, and she calls Popeyes P-O-P, Pope, yes, I think. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, oh, they're being funny, but I'm really looking at this and saying, I don't think she's playing. She is not able to put that word together, put those letters together to formulate that word Popeyes. So she came up with Pope, Popeyes, Pope, yes, Pope, yes. That's what she said. I don't know, but I know something has to be done. And something has to be done to get these parents on board. Because you're going to have your child still living, your child living at home. They're 20, 25 because they can't read, they can't get a job, they can't fill out the application because they can't read it. And I'm using a pen. Now, that's way old school, but can't get on the computer and answer a question. Why should we hire you? The letter U, should, S-U-D. I'm telling you what I've seen. I'm done with it. Listen, I want to thank you so much for spending your Sunday evening with me today. I'm so glad that we're back. We'll be back next week with hopefully with a full house, and I won't be on my soapbox next week unless something happens. I meant to talk about the inefficiency of Detroit City Council, their staff, their workers. I don't know how you all are doing business down there, and all the phones are going to a voicemail. That's another story for another day. And somebody let Councilman James Tate know he's number one. And then put Councilman Scott Benson on the rack too. Listen, have a great evening. Have a great week. Remember what I said from Creative Mind and Success. Put every negative thought out of your mind once and for all. Declare your freedom today. And you'll be glad you did. As Martha would say, I bet you. Have a great one.